Did you ever wonder? If you ever wonder, then come along. Racing cars, sweet ice cream, follow all your brightest dreams. Oh, oh,
Since the beginning of time, men have always been explorers, exploring for a better way, a faster way, and a more efficient way to do things. To accomplish all of this, he developed new technology, and that technology helped create these new machines. New machines that help us become more useful in our daily lives. As you will soon see, from the first tabulators used to calculate to the present machines that we use to communicate, we've made a lot of advances. And some say the best is yet to come. In the 1920s, the first tabulator was a success for use in data processing. In the 1940s, a huge technological advance began to happen. The vacuum tube, originally created for the radio industry, was placed in a computing machine. The vacuum tube could make things happen at speeds never before imagined. This new technology had developed a language of its own. Raymax, Sage, Fortran, real-time, magnetic cores, all became familiar phrases in the 50s. In the 1960s, technology began to develop at a frantic pace, from tubes to transistors to solid logic. Though large, computers were coming into their own. They were compatible with each other. And computer programmers write millions of instructions for space exploration.
Everybody.
Hi, Miss Jennings.
What are you doing?
We're on our favorite website, educateamerica.com.
Let me see. It looks like a pretty fun site. There's a lot to see and do.
What would we ever do without our computers?
And the internet.
I agree. The internet has made it possible for computers all over the world to become connected. You probably don't realize it, but computers control a lot of what you use every day.
Like what?
Like your car, for instance, has a tiny little computer in it called a microprocessor. It keeps the engine running smoothly. And your washing machine also has a microprocessor that controls how much water is used and checks to make sure that the water's not too hot or too cold. And if your supermarket has a cash register, that would also have a microprocessor in it.
I had no idea those things were actually controlled by computers.
That's right, tiny little microprocessors. And most businesses today have big computers, computers like we're used to. Do you know that some people think that in the future, we won't even leave our homes? We'll stay indoors and do everything by computer. We might have robots do our work for us. Stores and money will become unimportant because we can buy everything through the internet and pay for it by credit card.
That would be weird if we had to do everything from our homes.
I hope it doesn't happen. I like to shop.
Me too. So, does anybody know who invented the computer?
I know who he was. His name was Charles Babbage.
Very good, Michael. That's right. Charles Babbage is credited with inventing what they call the first general-purpose computer. Mr. Babbage thought it took a person way too long to do calculations and that there were too many mistakes, so he set out to invent a machine that took the work out of calculating. He called his machine a difference engine, and his idea had all the same parts that our computer does today.
He must have been a genius.
I'm sure glad we called it a computer and not a difference engine.
So, did Mr. Babbage get very rich from his invention?
I'm afraid not. Mr. Babbage never got his difference engine to work.
Why not?
Well, several reasons, but the year was 1833.
1833? Did we even have electricity then?
We did not have electricity then, nor did we have the technology to manufacture the parts that he designed. It seems that Mr. Babbage was a man ahead of his time. One of the first electronic machines was built in 1944. It was called the Automatic General Purpose Digital Calculator, or the Mach 1. It weighed 5 tons, used 500 miles of wire, and 800,000 parts.
800,000 parts? So, his machine was really the start of what we have today?
That's right. And to show you how far we've come since the Mach 1, in 1946, the first electronic computer was built. It was so large, it fit in a room the size of a small house. It weighed 30 tons and used valves the size of light bulbs to run it. Then, in 1948, they built the Selective Electronic Calculator. That was the start of the computer we have today.
I can't even imagine a computer that big. I wonder how many people it would take to run it.
And now we have computers small enough to fit in our hands.
We really have come a long way. The invention of the transistor in the 1950s made it possible for computers to be smaller and faster. And the invention of the microchip in the 60s made it possible for us to have personal computers. And even at this very moment, in factories all over the world, computers are being put together.
Do you think one of those factories would let us see how a computer is put together?
I bet I could make that happen right now.
I know how to use my computer, but I have no idea how it works.
Or even what's in there.
Well then, let's learn how they make computers. Let's begin with the case. As you'll soon see, the sole purpose of the case is to hold all the stuff together. Installing the power supply in the case is the first step.
Look at all those wires.
Eventually, all those wires will be plugged into the motherboard so we can use our CD-ROMs and our floppy disks.
Miss Jennings, I wonder how they came up with the name motherboard.
The word mother implies it is the main board because it holds all the important parts. And the first thing we'll attach to the motherboard is the brain, or as it's called in computer talk, the Central Processing Unit, or CPU. Next comes the inline memory module.
What did you say?
Inline memory modules. They are small circuit boards that hold memory chips. They go in the memory slot. Now we'll install the motherboard and the power to the motherboard. The hard drive is next.
Miss Jennings, what's a hard drive?
The hard drive, or the hard disk, is the disk that stores all the programs you use on your computer.
Like the program I would write a letter in?
That's right. And remember, if you want to use your letter again, you'll want to save it on either the hard drive, a CD-ROM, or a floppy disk. Look, he's installing the CD-ROM case right now.
It looks like she's putting the front of the case on now.
They call that the front bezel. They'll install the sound card.
Let me guess. That's the card that gives us our sound, right?
You got it. The speakers are plugged into the sound card. Anybody know what the video card does?
This is a guess, but does it give us our picture?
Yes, it does. The card translates the events and then shoots it up the cable into the monitor, where it appears on screen. The computer also comes with a modem card. That card allows you to access a phone line so you can surf the internet.
Amazing that a card can do all those things.
Miss Jennings, are they inspecting the computers before they ship them?
They are. This is called a quality control check. They'll scan the work order to make sure all the right applications have been loaded, run a check on the system components, and download the operating system.
Done. Look, they're putting the side panels on the case.
Now that everything's been checked, the cases will be moved to the shipping area.
Look at all these cases. And what are in the boxes underneath?
The keyboard, the mouse, and the manuals are in there. Putting the systems in boxes is a three-person job. One person folds the box and applies the shipping label. Someone else installs the foam. Another picks up the system and sets it in the box. The accessory box is also placed inside. And then the box is run through a taping machine.
And where are all the monitors and printers?
They're in boxes in the shipping room.
When I first started using my computer, I had trouble using the mouse. But now it's like...
Second nature?
How did they ever come up with the idea for a mouse?
Well, the first mouse was unveiled in 1968 at a computer conference. It was touted as the best pointing device to help users with their machines. That first mouse was just a block of wood with a button on it and a wire coming out the back connecting it to the computer. You know that the inventor of the mouse, Douglas Engelbart, said that he doesn't even remember who named it a mouse. But with its small rodent-like shape and its wire of a tail coming out the back, it certainly seems fitting. It took a while for that mouse thing to catch on, though, since the first one was unveiled in 1968 until 1984 when it was attached to a computer. From there, it's gone on to be attached to virtually all computers. In 1999, 90 million mice were produced. Did any of you ever wonder how the computer reads things?
What do you mean, reads things?
The programs in your computer use a special computer language, or codes. The information we type on the keyboard is changed into this special code so that the computer can understand it.
I had no idea.
The computer does this by using little electric switches. The switches can be turned on or off. Each switch equals a bit of information. In computer code, on is 1 and off is 0. And it's the program which turns the switches on or off.
Miss Jennings, can we see the switches?
No, not unless we use a magnifying glass. The number pattern of ons and offs makes a code that the computer understands. 8 switches, or bits, equals a byte. And in computer code, each byte means something. So when a key is pressed, the keyboard sends a byte, the code for that key, to the computer. Most keyboards have over 100 switches. Now, since we can't see the codes on the computer screen, the monitor changes the codes into images that we can see. Every image you see on the computer is made up of dots, or pixels. On a color monitor, colored dots are used, different colored dots. So when you sit back from the screen, you see the pictures, not the dots.
Give me an example of how many switches a memory chip would hold.
One memory chip can hold over 1 million codes. Each million is called a megabyte. This is enough to hold thousands of words. Those codes will be lost. They'll disappear when the computer's turned off if they haven't been stored in the memory of the computer. The processor, or brain of the computer, is the biggest chip in the computer, and it'll do whatever the program tells it to do. The processor takes codes from the memory and changes them. Every time an image on the screen changes, the processor has had to move all the pixels for all those codes to a new place. But the processor can change thousands, millions even, codes every second.
Miss Jennings, I have a question. Why are computer problems called bugs?
Yeah, what's a computer bug?
It seems the story goes like this. There was a moth found in a computer that wasn't working properly. The computer operator thought that the moth was causing the problem, so he called the problem a bug. Ever since then, we've called computer problems bugs because of the myth.
Computers really aren't as complicated as I thought they would be.
No, they aren't. In fact, we can describe a computer's functions in 4 words. Input, we've got to get the codes into the system. We do this by using a scanner, a keyboard, or a mouse. Processing. This arranges the codes in a way that the computer understands. The brain, or the memory, or a sound card does that. Output. The codes have to be changed into words, numbers, pictures, and sounds that we can understand. This is done by using a monitor, printer, or speakers. And last is storage. Storage saves our words, numbers, pictures, and sounds so that we can use them again. This is done by using a hard drive, a floppy disk, or a CD-ROM. So, does anybody know any computer jargon?
You mean like slang?
Yeah. Does anybody know this one? When a program causes your computer to freeze or stop working, what's that called?
That's easy. It's called a freeze.
No.
It's called a crash. I've got one you'll never get. What do you call a place where information is lost? It's called a bit bucket.
I've got one. If you're talking to your friend and you need to go do something really quick, you would type BRB, be right back.
If your friend says something funny, you can type LOL, laugh out loud.
And you could put POS, parent over shoulder. Yes,